Today is September 12th. It's 9:02 in the morning, and this is the Board State. We are YouTube mainly now. I still need to edit the podcasts and upload it when I have time. We are a YouTube podcast service where we discuss articles that we found throughout the week that deal with game design for the greater good. My name is Jeffrey Vierra, aka Mr. V, and I'm joined with
Jack.
Jack. Good morning. It's Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday and we're in quarantine, but yeah.
Well, I just came from the beach. It was pretty good. Actually, it's pretty interesting. There was a lot of box jelly in the water. Jellyfish.
Even the jellyfishes telling the people to go home.
I didn't get stung, but people got stung, so I was pretty happy about it. Anyway, that's what we're here to talk about. Awesome to see you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, so we got some really cool articles today. Let's get started. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first article is by news.yahoo.com, and Yahoo's been doing a lot of good gaming articles of late.
Yeah.
Right? No, I mean, there's been a lot of Yahoo mentions on our show.
Right.
Cool,
which
right?
is weird because Yahoo wasn't really known for gaming.
Who would have thunk? All right. Video games encourage indigenous cultural expression. Jack, what is your thoughts on this article?
Well, this is a good article to read about, especially if you're coming from a minority group or just coming in outside the gaming industry, because it really gives you like an understanding of what different types of genres and different types of gamers will be interested in and how you may want to appeal to that. One of these types of gamers are indigenous types of games, and so they gave you several good examples of great and awesome indigenous games that's on the market right now. And it's basically talking how in the industry there's this big need for game developers and games talking about indigenous lifestyles. We have games such as Age of Empires or Stellaris talking about building your empire or exploring the war, but we don't really have the other side of that coin, which is, you're playing as a ancient civilization going up against this more science fiction civilization and trying to survive, or you're trying to stop a plague from a unknown source, which could be from colonization or whatever. So these things have a lot of potential in the gaming market. And yes, some of them may be controversial, but in the nature, you may find more gems to that. Like, no matter what location you're from or indigenous people you are from, you will often find new stories to tell.
Jack,
Yes?
what is on your shirt? What is on your t-shirt?
Star Wars?
Is that what scene is that? Is that Vader? I can't really see.
No,
It's a little blurry.
No, so it's the internet.
I see it.
Yeah.
What is it?
The internet. So Darth Vader and a couple stormtroopers and the Wookiees rebels.
It has to do with the internet? Is that what you said?
Yeah, because this was made off of the internet. So yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I was just curious what that was because I couldn't really see because it looked like a scene from Empire or something, but I couldn't really tell.
Yeah,
cool.
It has Chewbacca as like waving a hand.
For real?
Yeah, it really does. So right behind the two stormtroopers.
And I miss old Star Wars. Okay. Anyway, let's get back on topic here. Yeah, you're right. And what this article is really about is the viewpoint of expression and game design, right? So we have games like you mentioned, Age of Empires, colonialism, taking land and etc. But what we don't have enough of is the alternative view, where games like they mentioned in the article, Brenda Romero. We all know Brenda Romero. Games like her game, The New World, puts the player in the role of a slave trader, navigating the Middle Passage as a way to illuminate the experience of slaves, right, and their experiences. So, I think, this is what our show's about again, but gaming is such a good medium to explore these kind of topics in a safe space without pissing people off, because hey, it's just a game, man, whereas if you're in a lecture or something, it may sound condescending. Documentaries are, of course, good for this, but documentaries are passive. Games are more interactive.
Movies also are having that same thing with lectures, and
but it's passive.
But you still see like that whole, oh, why are you doing this, or like we see it in lots of industries right now, and it's a especially time when the articles like this is coming out and nobody bats an eye like in the industry.
Yeah, and one of the things that it doesn't piss me off, but that I find very upsetting is the pushback that whenever a game design company tries to explore those kind of regions, like they get so much I don't want to say hate, like haters, but the criticism is just so vile. Like, why are they including a female character as their main character? What agenda are they trying to prove? Like, don't play the game, don't, or in what you were just saying, don't watch the movie. Yeah, so I think I completely agree with what this article is saying. Video games definitely encourage Indigenous cultural expression, and it should be used more and more and more. I think as more younger folks like you, upcoming younger folks, are looking for mediums of expression, game design lends itself to that to the fullest. Word? All right. Yeah. That was by yahoo.com. Video games encourage Indigenous cultural expression. All right. Next article. That's the transition there. Nintendo's. Oh, okay. I see what they're going to do with. Nintendo's embrace of indie developers is changing the game. Could you imagine a world without Hollow Knight? Is the subtext. Jack, what are your thoughts on this article?
It's going to happen. The AAA companies are really trying to figure out ways to stay afloat. And this is one of their ways, which is encouraging more indie developers instead of main party developers. Because often you find a lot more gems in indie development, such as Hollow Knight, Super Meat Boy, etc., etc. And so this is really just, this article is really talking about Nintendo's throwing their hat in the ring. And I really was surprised that Nintendo wasn't fully committed into indie games, because we saw several indie games like on the Switch as of late. I really didn't know it was like this big thing in Nintendo. So I highly encourage you to read it, because this will give you like a screenshot of what is going to happen in these next consoles. Not only it's going to be like, oh, our system is better, but oh, we have the most indie devs or indie games on our systems now, trying to go up against Steam and other such sites. So I really only see good, especially with the competition that it's going to bring out, because it will encourage devs to be like, now I have options and not just Sony or Microsoft on consoles.
Yep. I think Nintendo has always, supported indie. As far as I've had my Switch, there's always been decent, good indie games on it, right?
Right.
But one thing that I want to mention in this article, which is sort of related. They touched on it a little bit, but kind of allude to it, is accessibility. So I think accessibility is such an important thing, especially for indie games. And what I mean by accessibility is they mention PCs cost, a gaming PC will cost you $1,000 minimum. Arguably, you can find a cheaper one, you can find a more expensive one, whatever, right? So not everybody can afford $1,000 gaming computer, right? And the Nintendo Switch, you can get a Nintendo Switch Lite for $199, which is a lot less, right? And it's a lower barrier of entry that kids can get. But even your telephone, right? Your cell phone. Well, iPhone costs $1,000, but oftentimes they'll have a cheaper phone, right? That they'll have. So that is more accessible for them to get a game or to play something, whether it's Roblox or whatever. So that's something to consider in terms of like indie releasing. Like what is your accessibility? What is the accessible market that you're going after? If you're going for high console stuff, or high PC stuff, like pushing you need better graphics and whatnot. You may be truncating your audience. The other thing that really stood out that just like popped in my head, and maybe because my brain is soaked with salt water, so it's like firing all the dendrites and neurons are all active right now. And I don't have the data on this right now, but I would assume that there is far more indie games being released per month, per week, whatever, than AAA. Or it seems that way, because even when I go into the PlayStation Store and see like what's been released, like there's a whole bunch of just indie stuff, right? And I think that is a lot that has to do with a lot of how easy it is. Well, not still difficult, but how easier it is to make a game now, right?
Well, not just that, but it also gives like Activision and like EA. It gives these companies that like Sony and Microsoft relies on time to actually build their games. So you often may see more indie development and shout outs throughout even this past month.
Yeah. So I was going to also say that the development cycle is much larger on a AAA game, right? So like, I don't know, Last of Us 2 took, 5+ years to make, whereas if you're an indie designer, your development cycle is much smaller, despite your team size. So all those kind of factors contribute into these things being released. The downside to that is that like music now, it's really hard to find the diamonds in the rough. You have to really kind of sift through everything to kind of find these gems.
Well, that was it. Yes, but it also makes you attached to that music even more now, because by you searching for it, and I just feel there's more benefits than negatives.
Oh no, totally. Absolutely. No, 100%. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm saying that if guitars were free, if every single household had a guitar, there'd be a lot more singing in the world, which is a cool thing, but there'd be a lot more noise as well, right? Some kids would just be like banging it on the ground. Some kids would be like, ding, 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 right? But because of that, you would have some amazing artists that rise to the top. So yeah. But yeah, very, very cool article. I'm glad that Nintendo is embracing. I mean, that's just the market. That's just what you need to do. If you're not supporting the indie scene, you're not supporting gaming. All right, and that is Nintendo's embrace of indie developers is changing the game. All right, next article. Ooh, it kind of stung my finger clicking on that article, Jack. Ooh, better.
Because you picked it.
Let me put some sanitizer here. So you got some like poison.
I'm gonna say this right now on the podcast. This is Jeff Vierra, Mr. V's article, and
all right, we're good. Yes, I did. All right, this is this is by GameRant.com, and Xbox Academy will teach basics of game development. Whoa! Microsoft doing something good? Whoa! Sort of. Jack.
So, honestly, talking about this article, you also have to talk about what the game plan for the next year for Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, and that is what we just explained in the development. And so, how do you encourage more devs to go on your platforms or make games for you? Well, making a school about it is one good step. And granted, they're teaching them in the hopes of a financial success, but the skills that they're going to be teaching them can be used elsewhere for Sony, for Nintendo, for a lot of other pieces, for indie, for ARG. And it's really good, all of the skill sets that they're offering, which is basically teaching us of free. I'm not sure how advanced the course is going to be, but it's mostly deal with the new games going in the. The only catch-22 with this is that it's only going to be for New York and Cindy.
It's just weird. It's so weird. I'm assuming it's going to be online.
No, it
It's going to
doesn't.
be in person?
So if you go to news.xbox.com,
Okay.
I'll put it on the show notes right now,
Right.
because that was something that I was kind of like, what the beep?
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be at those stores in New York and yeah.
At the stores.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
But so there's two different sides of this take. One, guys like me who wants to participate in this program and can really feel like, okay, what the heck? Because we can't even go there, even if we wanted to, because pandemic. But number two is that it really allows the teacher and students to really talk more. We see, so that's a benefit for this program. It allows them to reconnect to the teachers, especially how they have a short minimum of time to do so. If you're in those two areas, I highly encourage you to just check it out. You don't have to stay for the full time there. Just check it out and really see, because this is what the new future is going to be. Corporations is going to try and do more community outreach so they could boost their own sales, and vice versa. We're going to see a lot more community outreaches become corporatized to a certain degree in order to become, so their voices could be heard to a wider audiences.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah, this is great. They need to do more and more and more of this. Just one thing to note about this is, so everything is built on the backbone of Unity, right? Which I'm a huge fan of. I love Unity a lot. Wish I had time to make stuff in Unity like I used to. I miss it, Jack. I miss it so much. But yeah, so yeah, this is cool. It's just weird that they're using the Microsoft Store for this, but I mean, yeah, whatever. It's a Microsoft thing. I mean, I imagine they want the people to go to the stores so that they can, like, oh, I want a Surface as well because I'm here and I'll buy one. So yeah. Yeah.
I mean, have you saw the Xbox at the pricing for that? I mean,
Yeah. Okay, that was Xbox Academy will teach basics of game development by GameRant.com. Okay. Next article is a feel-good story. And really, this article showcases what this whole show is about. And it is Wrexham mum. It's a mum, not a mum. She's probably an Aussie. Where's Wrexham? You know where Wrexham is?
Britain.
Ah, Wrexham mum of 3 uses lockdown to develop and release her own board game on the later.co.uk. Jake, what's your thoughts on this?
So we're gonna see a lot more of these game developers coming out of different aisles of the world. You could have construction workers to office workers. You could have janitors to just anything you could have. And Poland strong.
We have NASA engineers, and then we have construction workers. It's like always picking on construction workers as
It's
your
not
base.
picking. It's
Oh,
not picking on them.
All right.
But it no wills. It really is just one of those articles. If you really have like a down moment in or having hard time in, it really gives you more incentive to keep going and keep understanding, because a lot more people is going to come in this industry, and not all of their games are going to be hits, of course. But the fact that they're going into this industry and making a pledge to even make a game. For example, she already has a Kickstarter out and hoping for backers to back her. So already you've seen a lot more perseverance, even though they may not know what exactly gaming is or how to make games. And so that's the one thing about this article I really want to highlight, is that if you really need to find an article or find something to keep you up at least for the ending of the week, this is one, because it's a very good, feel good, pat on your back article.
Absolutely, dude. Okay, so Jane Frances Hedden, she's 52, and like all of us, she's in quarantine, feeling down and isolated, whatever. And she took all of that energy and made a board game, right?
Mhm.
And this board game, it's a roll and move game. No judgment here. But yeah, it's a traditional roll and move game with a little bit of a twist. I think so the game has a British agent spy theme in which players or agents must collect various resources, including money, security passes, clue tokens, and a secret briefcase before heading to the helicopter to be airlifted out of safety of Europe. Awesome. I am so behind this. I wish everybody would do this. I mean, literally everybody.
Yeah, and so one last thing to note is that if she went to Poland, maybe she will find more, support, because Poland strong.
All right. That is Wrexham Mom of 3 uses lockdown to develop and release her own board game. Bless her. All right. Next article is one by time.com, and this is Sid Meier is here to remind you that life is full of interesting decisions. Jack, what is this article about, and who is Sid Meier?
Okay, if you haven't heard Sid Meier, he is the guy that made Civilization and also a host of other games, but I care about Civilization, so that's the only game I'm gonna mention. I may be a fanboy to that, but who cares? But for real though, this article is actually really good read, because it really talks about just how he see gaming is going in the future, and how he really wants game to understand, and how it's taking. And this is more or less a bridge gap between the starters, how if you're going into the industry and unsure, or if you're a veteran of the industry, this is a good middle ground article. We haven't seen a lot of those as of late, lately, but this is really one of those articles where I could say you really should read. One of the main notes that I figure I mention right now is that I read Mario's book and spoke with him after finally finishing Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that utterly blew me away in terms of storytelling, acting and sheer beauty, but which ends with a punch to the gut that I'm still emotionally recovering from even weeks later. The Last of Us 2 has likewise caught the flag for being grim beyond the point of enjoyability. So I asked Mario, a guy who's obsessed with fun, why do some of today's games want to make me so sad? It's a part of the expression of our audience, of our industry,
Wow.
of the kind of things that we can do. He says, back in the day, you went to games to get a certain experience. If you wanted a different experience, you would go to a movie or something like that. Now, people are spending more time paying for this variant of experience. Okay. I'm not too sure how he sounded, so I just did my more emotional voice, but yeah.
My turn.
Your thoughts?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just getting his book here. Sorry. Okay. No. Sid Meier is like a god, man. I've watched tons of like interviews on YouTube. Civ 3 changed my life when I played it back in the day. And then latest is 5 or 6.
This is 6, but everybody still plays 5.
Yeah. I've only played the latest one I played is 5. But when I played it, so when I played Civ 5, I played it like, I don't know, 2 years ago or a year ago or something like that. But I remember when I played it was like on a Saturday, because weekends is normally the only time I get to play games. And I remember like I installed it Friday, started playing it on a Saturday, and then like Saturday morning, and then I looked up and it was like 3:30 in the morning. I used the bathroom, whatever, but
One more time.
No, exactly. No, exactly that. Just one more turn. No, exactly. But like, I forgot what that felt like, and the last time I felt that was like in Civilization 3, and it's just, yeah, you just get so involved, man. But yeah, and all of that turn-based micromanagement is, yeah, it's just freaking amazing, dude. But yeah, this is a very, very cool article. It goes through decision making essentially. I just got his book. But and
Senpai,
really,
no, it's me.
it is, but it's interesting too. So I've been studying in the last couple of weeks a lot about chaos theory again. Chaos theory always kind of pops up in my brain a lot, and chaos theory in relation to like how we decide and do things, and like in the end, do our decisions really, really matter, and like how much do they matter, and things like that. So so like with decision trees, and especially in Civilization, you can only do so much, and then beep happens, right?
Wait.
I mean, it's like, you try to protect yourself so much, and then the universe does stuff back. So yeah, I think Sid Meier Civilization is one of the coolest things in the world. Sid Meier and Civilizations is the coolest thing about it.
Senpai, notice me, please.
All right. Sid Meier is here to remind you that life is full of interesting decisions. Absolutely. Okay. So that's our 5 articles. for the week, we have a bonus article. And Jack, where can they send us questions, concerns, comments?
At theboardstate@gmail.com.
And when you type in the email, you have to make your eyes like that as well. All right. So rather than answer your questions of the week, today we have an article that we're going to talk about, and this was selected by Jack, and it is RAF veteran hosts gaming marathon in aid for other military heroes. Jack, what does RAF stand for?
The Royal Air Force.
Brits? Is that Brits?
Britain, yes. That's what I've been saying.
Whoa. I just asked the question, man. I don't know this. Okay. So very cool. Jack, what is this article about?
Well, it's really about one man's story and how he wants to try and give back. And I really think this article, that is the main story about it. It's that gaming is such a big enough media. Well, not only you have activists using it, but also charity organizations and charity funds that is going right now. And though it's talking about the military, and in this case, a British veteran trying to help out veterans charity, there's other charity streams like this, but this is one of the ones that got really big media attention because his story is that this charity organization actually saves his life, like so many does. And so instead of I'm feeling like they're not doing too well, he decided to do a charity stream, which we see often with streamers nowadays, especially right now, to try and boost relief funds to those organizations that is especially impacted right now. So, though the main focus is his story, I decided to showcase this because I wanted to showcase that genre of gaming, which is the charity side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we may see more charity run streams from major gaming companies. For example, we saw one happen with the Call of Duty community a while back, and it wasn't run by Activision, but instead by the community members.
Wow.
We will see more of these streams coming up, and I just highly encourage people to really watch for these streams because not only you'll be helping the creator, and you may also find a new person to watch, but you will be also helping a good cause at the end of the day. But yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. This is super cool. And just a really good example of gaming as a medium for social good, right? I mean, this is exactly it, where the gaming in this particular instance, right, is the social glue that gathers everything together. Gathers everyone together, and then once they're gathered, they can then raise awareness on these causes, much like this. So yeah, awesome find, man. So this is gonna happen. Oh, it did happen. So that happened on the 5th and the 6th. Okay.
So, but rumor has it that there's going to be another major one hosted by other UK streamers in the hopes to gain more awareness for other charities. So, like I said, keep your eyes out for any streamer that may have a charity organization in mind or is talking about it, because that's how you get more of these good articles about gaming and how we change the perception of gaming from, oh, it costs kids to just be rambles to
right.
it's the social good. It's a good for everybody and not just one
person. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Jack. That's a awesome gem. That's a really good find. So before we log out here, we are coming on. We've got 2 weeks essentially left of this ARG game that we are running. We have a reigning champ right now, but you can still jump in and try to take him out. Jack, can you talk a little bit about this ARG we have?
Yes, so it's very much about a girl's story and how she fits in with a major historical event that happened in Hawaiian history. It's a fan fiction, so but it is based off of actual events. And the ARG is you trying to figure out that ghost story with and how she associates to this major event. So not only you're learning Hawaiian history, but you also could be able to win gift cards for around
That's right.
$50 usually
Yep.
if you be commenting or talking to people about the ARG on the group forum, or if you win the week and the last 2 weeks, you may have a chance at winning a new PS5.
That's
Anything,
right.
anything is possible, but you need to be on the group channel in order to try and win that PS5 and win those gift cards. And the group channel is
Facebook.com
Facebook.com
/groups
/groups
/808 ARG.
ARG.
Yeah. It's free to play. It's
Yeah.
free to play. Free to play.
Free to play. Like, have fun.
Exactly. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody, for listening.